guys, and welcome back to Behind the Tape. So, I wanted to give you guys an update on the Romeca Meeks case. And the reason I'm doing this update is just from doing a little research. I see that Carlos Way, who is the baby daddy that is at the center of this tragic case, is doing some weird stuff on Facebook. He's posting videos, in my opinion, attempting to show Romeca in an aggressive light. And it's really weird behavior, in my opinion, to be doing right after she unfortunately lost her life in such a tragic way. And it was partly your fault and the person that you brung into her life's fault. It was all of her fault. But it's giving that there is some reactive abuse that is going on here. And if you guys don't know what that is, we're going to talk a little bit about that in this video. And also, I have some clips from other content creators that have given their opinion on what they think, as far as this reactive abuse, because clearly that is what's going on here.
I don't know if y'all get on Facebook or not, but I do. And it's somebody uploading videos of Romeca or whatever, and she's going at her baby dad, why you lied? She got a 2x4 in her hand, like all kind of things. And they're basically trying to paint the picture that she was the stalker, she was all of these things. But this is my whole thing. I have survived the narcissist, baby. That is reactive abuse. I told y'all last month, reactive abuse is when your abuser antagonizes you and keep going and keep going. And when you finally react, he pulls out a camera to record you. I also told you that it is a man that has a lot of videos of me doing the same thing. And it all stemmed behind his actions. That is why he was mad once he couldn't get that reaction out of that lady no more. Once she stopped pulling up, once she stopped caring, once she stopped pouring her energy into him, that is when those videos would have been released. Because this is my thing. She would have been the one to unalive you. She would have been the one setting you up and being places that she know that you're going to be, and something tragic would have happened to you if that was the case. That is reactive abuse, and y'all need to learn how to identify it. I don't care what y'all say. It has been and will forever be R.I.P. Romeca, and he needs to be under the jail right along with that other baby mama. Tell y'all what I just found out. The day that Romeca was unalived, right? Tell me why while the grandma was at the hospital trying to check on Romeca and how she was doing, the daddy, Carlos, was at the school trying to get the baby out of the school, and one of the witnesses had to go into the school and tell them, like, he just had something to do with the mom being unalive. So that resulted in CPS being called and them taking the baby, but ultimately the baby was given back to the grandma. They have a court case coming up October the 8th to determine where the baby would stay and who he would go with and things of that nature. My whole thing is this. Do you think that your baby would actually be comfortable with you knowing, because I'm pretty sure he didn't seen or heard about you being a part of her demise? How sick in the head do you have to be to go and try to take that baby from around all of that love to have him around you, knowing the hate that you had in your heart for his other half? When I say men will play with you in life and death, because what you thinking now, you and Holly about to go off and raise little Los and y'all baby together, that'll never happen. That's sick. But I will be keeping y'all updated, and I'm still keeping the family in my prayers. But can y'all believe this man?
So, if you don't know about Romeca, on the surface, Romeca Meeks looks like she was the aggressor in this story. But what if I told you that what we see isn't always the full story? That sometimes the loudest, angriest reaction comes from years of being poked, prodded, and pushed to the edge. This is called reactive abuse. And Romeca's case gives us a haunting look at how it can play out in real life. Reactive abuse happens when a victim of long-term manipulation, gaslighting, or control finally explodes. The abuser provokes, instigates, and taunts until the victim lashes out. And suddenly, the narrative flips. Out comes the phone, here comes the recordings, and all you see is that person's reaction to the abuse. The abuser now gets to point the finger and say, see, look at how crazy and violent he or she is. Meanwhile, the years of provocation vanish from the spotlight. In Romeca Meeks' case, that cycle of of being provocative and reaction was on full display. Friends, family, and even investigators described a relationship marked by tension, jealousy, and control. Behind closed doors, there were accusations, emotional manipulation, and patterns of behavior designed to wear her down. Romeca's breaking point became the only moment people remembered, her reaction. But the context that led her here, almost invisible. This is the cruel genius of reactive abuse. It's the flip of the script. The abuser keeps their hands seemingly clean while the victim, now visibly emotional, looks unstable. Police reports, body cam footage, and even courtroom testimony often captures the victim mid explosion, screaming, crying, throwing things without showing the hours, months, or sometimes even years of needling that led to that moment. For Romeca, this wasn't just a fight, it was a psychological trap. Victims of reactive abuse often internalize the shame of their reactions. They replay those explosive moments in their minds, thinking, maybe I really am the problem. But in reality, they were pushed into
I gotta fix
survival
this
mode.
man. Here's the lunch. And she put it on Facebook and she put the note in his lunchbox. So where people are saying that he dropped the baby out, that is not true. Second of all, I want to say I want a full investigation of the situation. I don't want Holly to be able to get away with it because she went to school to be a criminal justice lawyer, so therefore she knew how to do a paper trace.
The alleged shooter, correct?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone wants to say that Romeca harassed Holly. Romeca never knew Holly. Holly introduced herself with Romeca with a phone call saying, I left a robe in Carlos' closet from the beginning. She's always wanted to harass her. So they never had an altercation or physical altercation. It was always something that she would inbox Romeca. Romeca would respond, which anyone would respond of a situation that was going on. It was a toxic situation.
To be with me after he got a baby on the way. I would never be having matching t-shirts on with a nigga that got a baby on the way. I would never be trying to play family with a nigga that got a baby on the way. I would never want to be with a nigga that burnt me while I was pregnant. I would never want to be a bitch like that. I would never be telling random people that my baby daddy burnt me. I would never tell nobody no shit like that. I would never tell random people that my baby daddy cheated on me our whole relationship, my whole pregnancy, that he cheated on me. I would never, you could never get me to tell no shit like that to no random people that I don't fucking know. I would never want to have a job to where I'm wiping old people ass and giving old people showers and feeding them and shit. I would never want to have a job like that. I would never want to have a job that my car was in the shop for 2 years. I couldn't get it out. I would never want to have a job like that. I'm wiping ass and I ain't got no car still. I would never want no job like that. I would never want to be with a nigga that done got so many bitches pregnant during the time that I've known him. I would never want to be with a nigga like that. I would never want to be with a nigga that done play in my face for damn near 10 years. I would never want to be with a nigga like that. I'm getting me a new nigga ASAP. I would never have a big ass birthday party and have to catch a ride to my birthday party because I don't have a car. I would never call a bitch friend phone
As
trying
far
to.
as Carlos, he played a major part in this. I remember multiple times of her calling saying, "Mama, I'm tired. I'm tired. I can't fight no more. I just want him to leave me alone." She had got her strength to walk away because I'm a mother and I'm a fighting mother. I've always raised my kids to, regardless of what situation, do not take the kid from their dad. But this is one situation I wish I wouldn't have told my baby that, so she could have just really walked away. Even if you had a order protection on her, why didn't you call the police yourself then? Why didn't you get in your car and leave? You were in a place where you shouldn't have even been. The school is on 22nd. Why did you park there? Carlos stay on 20th. 21st, like close to 20th. You can park there. You can park there on the block before him. But
So
anything
only
else,
the
I have not
detective.
heard. No one that's reached out to me. No one that said anything to me. And I think it's unfair for no one not to talk to me, because I'm supposed to be able to get questions, answers, ask you questions and get answers. You know, everybody wants to keep saying, Holly, Holly, Holly. Holly, why would you call DCFS on Romeca if Romeca messing with you so much? Holly, you picked with my baby. You did this all the time to her.
Miss McMillan, did Romeca have restraining orders against Holly and Carlos?
I knew Carlos. I don't know about Holly, but
Okay,
I knew it was
I
Carlos,
she had one against Carlos. Okay.
you know, because he kept harassing her. Her co-workers came to my house yesterday, and she literally said, I asked her, I said, did Carlos ever come up there harassing Romeca? She said, all the time. This is what he was doing. He said she said Romeca used to park her car 5 blocks away almost and walked to work so he wouldn't see her car there. Because she moved. She changed her number. She didn't want nothing else to do with him. So only way he knew to find her at was the school or her work.
The outburst is less about aggression and more about the human body just reaching its limit. Reactive abuse is rarely talked about, but it's very common in toxic relationships, especially those marked by narcissistic or controlling partners. It's weaponized to silence victims. Society, courts, even family members often side with the calm, composed abuser while labeling the victim as unstable or dangerous. Romeca's case reminds us that before we judge the explosion, we need to ask, who lit the fuse? So when we look at Romeca's case, not just as a defendant, but as a human being, we have to ask, was she reacting to years of quiet abuse that nobody saw? Reactive abuse teaches us a hard truth that sometimes the loudest crime scene isn't the first act of violence, but the last cry for help.
So I was the one that was yelling
Talk
out
to me.
to arrest her because no, everybody wasn't doing anything. I was actually the one who called the cops first, and I saw
Thank
them
you.
when they were fighting in the beginning, and I was like, "This is not right." He was slamming her with the door when she was standing in her door frame, not even close to the female on the other side. So she was literally standing on the other side of the road, and the her baby daddy was literally slamming the door on her back. So she went back into her car, came back out, And then this was when the baby daddy walked towards the other baby mama. After this happened, he grabbed her by the waist. She tried to wiggle away from him. Um, her arm was like literally almost getting free. With his arm around her neck. This time because he was holding her by the waist in the beginning, and she wiggled out. Um, After this happened, he had her in the like almost looking like a headlock to me on the side, and then the other baby mama stated, "I'm gonna shoot you, bitch. Watch me shoot you, bitch." And he stated, "Oh, she's gonna go get her gun. She's gonna go get her gun. Watch, watch." And after this happened, she ran to the passenger side of her vehicle, grabbed her gun, went around, and when um the woman, the mother, who slipped away from him for at least like maybe a good second, as soon as she slipped away, she shot her. And she shot her in the face, on her side, and in her thigh. And I saw him like holding her for a split second. Maybe he was in shock, but after he was in shock, I guess he picked her up, and when she was falling, like a gush of blood fell, you know, like out of her body. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I don't know, everybody else sees movies, you know what I mean, and they see put pressure on the wound. Why weren't you putting pressure on the wound? Why weren't you caring enough? This supposedly was your first baby mama, because when I was on the bus, I heard him and her screaming, and she was literally saying, she was like, I just dropped off my fucking baby. What? I just dropped off my fucking baby. Are you guys kidding me? As soon as I got off the 21 bus. And trust me, they got it. You know what I mean? Everything that I literally had to, I wasn't gonna let her die like that. I literally looked into her eyes. That hurt me. She says she dropped her baby off, and you don't know who she is. You know what I mean? And I was like, arrest her. She needs to get arrested. You know what I mean? They weren't even thinking. There was another black female cop who came up, and a Mexican short cop, and I pointed out, was like, the guns in her car, the guns in the car. Why wouldn't you give him the gun if supposedly this was, a self-defense? You know what I mean? If it was hey, here's the gun, this is what happened. It was no self-defense. I swear to you, it did not look like no self-defense. It looked like you shot her because you were just angry or something. You know what I mean? And to me, um, when she shot her, it wasn't it. The female that got shot, she wasn't with any gun. She didn't have no weapon, no knives, no nothing. So what was it that frightened you so much? You had to run around your car, go into your passenger seat or whatever the case is, and you reached in to get your gun and shoot this woman, you know? So to me, it was a senseless. They were arguing because she was pulling up, and I guess they ended up parking. Why was her car parked on the sidewalk? Because I seen she ran towards the sidewalk to get her gun, and it was a small black vehicle, and he had a black truck, I think. And literally, he came out of his truck looking like real, like he wasn't like on anything but being like mischievous, like nothing but like what was like he was planning something, you know what I mean? And I called the cops on the first time I called the cops, it was because he was attacking her, you know, and the other girl was just yelling at her, and she was arguing back. So there was nothing going on for her to be like, oh, I'm gonna step back over here to go get my gun, you know. She was nowhere near her. But that's all I gotta say. And I know for a fact that she did get arrested, but he got let go. So hopefully, for what I said and what I witnessed, I just don't want to be, put on the stand or anything to say. I did put a statement in because I know it's necessary. It was a ridiculous, I'm a mom too. I wouldn't want my baby to hear like that, and I wouldn't want me to be laying in the ground. She's a sister, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's somebody to everybody. She's a friend, and that was bogus to just stand there and look at her like she was nothing. To me, I was literally so mad. My boyfriend was also really mad. He was yelling at them. I don't know if you noticed. He was there too, and I was on the phone with him while this was happening. I would call back at him, and he was like, what's going on? I was like, please hurry. And I even had him run that way. I was like, you need to run that way to go see if he's okay. Go see if everything's okay. What's going on over there? What's going on? Is she laying in the go see if she's okay, you know? And it's just senseless that I felt like I had to go send my boyfriend over there because he was just standing over her like, you know, like I don't know, but I'm so
There was no reason for Carlos Way and Holly Johnson to be in front of Romeca's son's school that morning. If Holly Johnson had a restraining order on Romeca Meeks, why was she in her presence? Why was she there? And they were there in two different vehicles. Why? If you're that afraid of a person, why are you in a place where you know she's going to be, her son's school? A lot of people think that this was set up. A lot of people are blaming the baby dad, Carlos Way, and they're saying that because she decided that she was done being triangulated with other women, other baby mamas, that she was just sick and tired of the situation, that he couldn't take the ending of that relationship. So what he did was he triangulated Holly and spewed venom into her to get her to the point where she did the ultimate. Y'all hop down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this situation. Do you think there will be charges? I'm hoping that the investigation will uncover everything that happened that fateful morning. At the very least, we need to get justice for Romeca.